Hey everyone, Chef Lene here with the Grow Your Own Food Club. This is about the, 25th club meeting that we've had. Some of the information on the Club Hub has been a little bit confusing. I apologize for that, but there's really no way around. We went on summer break, and when we go on break, obviously, no one's at the school. So then that means we only have one meeting per month and so on. I promised to get all of these archived videos up on that webpage. And please forgive me for not being in uniform. Because I'm dealing with dirt and I've been out in my garden, I've got like gardening clothes on. So there you go. So today, this is what we're doing today. And thank you for coming. I see 4 of you out there. And hopefully people will join. Many students like to wait and watch the archive. But if you have any questions, let's just save those to the very end. I think what I have planned today will only take about 30 minutes. So we'll have plenty of time for you to ask questions. And I'm not going to pretend I know everything. I don't. I just started maybe 6 or 7 years ago, really getting into growing my own food. And every year I want to progress a little bit. I've committed to not putting any flowering plants on my property, but anytime I invest in plants now, they're going to be of an edible nature. And that's because of food scarcity. I'm really, particular about the food that I eat, and I don't like pesticides and all that kind of stuff. So today, we're going to talk about Susan here. She's our mascot, and she's an avocado tree. You may have seen the progression of Susan. She started out a pit from one of my avocados, just from my groceries, right? I throw them away all the time. The process is basically save the avocado seed. It has to dry out. So this avocado seed, well, they don't have to dry out, but it speeds up the process. You put some toothpicks in it. You put it in water so that the very bottom, the root end, is submerged in water. You don't want the whole thing submerged in water. And it's a dicotyledon. There are 2 halves, and the seed provides nutrition for the baby plant. So you're going to see a tap root first. You won't see anything coming out of the tap. A tap root will come out into the water, and it will get pretty thick, like maybe 1/4 of an inch. And once that tap root is like 4 or 5 inches long, then you're going to see some leaves come out at the top. So this thing is about 2 years old, believe it or not. And
Really?
yeah, today we're going to repot her because
Okay.
she's like, I don't know, 2 feet, 2.5 feet, and she's been outside. That's why her leaves are a little broken. She withstood the last storm that we had, but you know what's good about that? It has made her stalk much stronger, the wind. 2 months
Ah,
ago, yeah, 2 months ago, I put these, not chopsticks, but skewers, because she wasn't very stable. In 2 months, she's doubled and she's completely stable. So we don't really need this situation anymore. But I can see on the bottom, when I lift this up, I see some roots coming out of the bottom.
yes.
That
Okay.
means, yeah, she's ready to go. So we're gonna repot her, and I'll just talk about some of those things. But before we do that, I want to talk about an herb today. Every time I have one of these meetings, I kind of, theme it around something. Well, I grow a lot of cilantro. Cilantro is one of my favorite herbs. And
Cilantro? Yeah.
cilantro, yeah.
Yes,
Some
yes.
people don't like it. They say it tastes like soap. That's not me. I love cilantro. I can't get enough of it. So here's the cool thing about cilantro. You plant it once and you have it for years. Okay? There's 0 effort to growing it from year to year to year. All right? That's one of the
Okay.
really cool things. So you get years out of a couple dollars of investment. I have 2 raised beds and you can see my raised beds in previous recordings, that are committed to cilantro. And I do nothing. I just snip it off when I'm doing, Asian foods or Mexican foods. And I use it as much as I can. But
It's
here,
a good herb. It's a very good herb. I use it
it's
too.
very flavorful, and you'll find it in
Yeah.
a lot of Asian cuisine as well, and Thai food. But
Okay.
here's the thing. It's called a biannual. And that means that the plant strengthens when you do this. 1 year, utilize it for the leaves. That's the herb.
Okay.
The second year, and that's what we're doing here, utilize it for the fruit.
Mm.
So what is the fruit of a cilantro plant? Anybody know? And you can put it in the chat if you don't have anybody know what the
I
fruit?
mean, I'm learning. I don't even know, so I'm learning. I want to
Good. Okay,
know.
I'll show you.
All right.
So the fruit of a cilantro plant is called coriander. And I know
Coriander.
you probably have heard of coriander. If I put it next to my shirt, maybe it shows up a little bit better.
Yeah.
This one, or the fridge, this one is green, and they're not quite dried yet. We don't use it at this stage, but out of all of this, I only found a couple of these that weren't quite dry.
Wow.
So here's the deal. So all I did was go in, they get about 2 feet tall, and I cut them. They're coriander's falling all over the floor. But you see the very top right there?
Uh-huh. Yeah.
That's coriander seed, and it's ready to go. And all I have to do is later tonight, usually I put a YouTube video on and I learn about plant-based food or health or something. And I sit there and I harvest all of my cilantro. I mean, coriander.
Yes. So you just basically picking the seeds off.
Yeah, picking the seeds off. That's right. So you
Okay.
see these? That took me like
Yeah.
3 minutes of just picking. And they're ready to use. Now remember, first they're gonna flower, and they're going to have a little white flower. And the flower leads to a fruit. And this is a green fruit, but these are all completely dry. You can see the difference.
Okay. Okay.
Can you
Yes.
see that's green and those are brown?
Yes.
Okay, once they're brown, they're ready to eat, but you want to make sure they're brown all the way. Like I take a piece, it's completely hollow. I taste it, and that's such a familiar flavor to me. I absolutely love coriander.
So
Coriander is,
you can pretty much taste it like that.
yeah. So what I
Yeah.
would do with these, once I harvest them, oops, Susan, sorry. Once I harvest these, I'm just gonna burr them up in a pepper grinder.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Or I will store them this way and grind them as I need them. Another way to use it is to bloom them in oil. And what that means is just a little bit of oil in your saucepan, and get that oil hot and just throw these in for a few minutes until you can smell the aromatics are really powerful. And then you can put them in rice dishes and vegetable dishes. It's widely used in Asian cuisine and in India. India is on the Asian continent, but Ayurvedic is something that I will teach you about if you get to my class in health and wellness, plant-based approaches to health and wellness, and it's medicinal as well. So I want to go over all of that information with you. Okay. So
Okay.
virtually no money was spent this year on my cilantro. In fact, this is year 3 that I haven't had to invest 1 cent in it. And I didn't do anything to it this year. I didn't even water it because I'm letting nature take its course. Now, if I was going to use it as cilantro leaves, I want to keep it hydrated. I just let the plant naturally do in nature what it wants to do. Okay.
Okay.
So, couple things. And when we started this, when we started all of our seeds, we did seedlings this year, I think 10 different items. Beans, peas, chamomile, tea leaves, basil, lavender, ginger.
Wow. That's a
Yeah,
lot.
we did all those earlier this year, and those archived videos are on the club page. I bought this little from Walmart, this little journal, and this is how you learn. You buy the seeds, you try to grow the plant, you do a little bit of research on the internet, and you keep notes. Okay, so I want to share with you today what I've learned about coriander just from researching and growing this for the last 3 years. Okay. So,
Okay.
the medicinal purposes for coriander, in other words, you can use many spices as medicine. You have to know how to do it though. You have to know how much you can take and what's safe and all that. But, coriander is used as an antioxidant, anti-inflammatory, antimicrobial, and anti-cancer drug. Not drug, it's not a drug, it's a herb, medicinal herb.
Yes, yeah.
Also helps with COPD, asthma, and bronchitis. So it's
Really?
good for your digestion, it's good for your lungs, and it's good for weight loss because another thing that it does is it relieves digestive issues, but it also changes how your body breaks down lipids. So fats. So some people take coriander and make a tea and drink the tea of the coriander every morning. And the way you would do that, or you could add it to a smoothie, you would take, is it 1 teaspoon? Half a teaspoon of coriander seeds. So half a teaspoon, I have many half teaspoons right here. And you would boil 2 cups of water and you just bloom it into the water. You're making a tea with it. Then you can chill that down and put it in your smoothies. Pretty cool, huh?
Yes, yes, it is.
It also helps regulate blood glucose levels. So people that are diabetic, it improves kidney function. And again, helps with weight loss because of the change in the lipids. Flavor profile. So we chefs, what we love about it is that it is, the flavor's really cool. It's very complex in that there are many things going on in the background. I just ate one. The profile is citrusy. It has notes of orange and lemon, and it has pepper notes. It almost tastes like pepper. Pepper is the second flavor profile I recognize when I bite one. It's floral, a little bit piney, kind of like rosemary.
Yeah.
And earthy. Okay.
Okay.
If you're into science, the what it contains is phenol and linoleic acid. And those 2 things are also found in some other herbs like bay leaf, laurel, tea tree, rosemary, sage, even cannabis.
Okay.
So there's some compounds at a molecular level And that's what scientists have studied to determine, how a coriander, it can be used medicinally, right? And this is just one example, one spice. If you study blue zones or areas in the world where people live a long time, over 100 years, there's something like 8 blue zones. They
Mhm.
incorporate a lot of spices into their foods.
Okay. Okay.
But
So
that,
can I ask you a question?
yes, go ahead.
Uh, is that stronger than ginger as in flavorable?
No,
No, no.
it's not as well. Maybe if I took the same quantity of ginger, the coriander seed is very small.
Uh-huh. Okay.
Maybe it would be, but ginger does have a lot of flavor, but we tend to use it in, higher quantities than we would coriander. So that's an interesting question. I can't answer yes or no. My first initial reaction was no, ginger's more flavorful, but it's so different. Here,
Okay.
ginger we know what ginger tastes like, right?
Yes, yes,
And the
yes.
reason we know what ginger tastes like is because we have olfactor, smell. Smell is 80% of taste. But every time we taste something, our brain is recording that memory. And after some time, we can, with our mind's eye, visualize and almost smell ginger, right? Because we've used a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Coriander might be a little more obscure to you, but here's the cool thing about coriander, because ginger has this cool citrusy kind of spicy thing going on, but
Yes,
coriander has
it will
levels.
clear your nose
Yeah,
with sinuses. Yeah.
yes.
Yes.
But ginger and coriander paired together in a lot of Thai and Indian foods, it's a good marriage as well, because the coriander is
Really?
giving you all this flavor in the background that's a little different, but melds with the ginger. So that's a really good question.
Okay. All right.
Any other questions, guys? I know that was a lot of information, right? But I wanted you to have some of those scientific terms for the compounds that are in it, so you could re-watch this video and you could do some of your own research. I also wanted to give you some of that Ayurvedic medicinal purpose. And Ayurvedic is a very ancient practice, medicinal practice that started in India, and we study it. But you'd have to be an Ayurvedic practitioner or someone who has studied for about 7 years, almost the same length as you would to be a doctor in Western medicine. Okay, so we as chefs, we're more concerned with the flavor profiles,
Yes,
right?
yes, yes.
But knowing that it has all of these beneficial properties like anti-inflammatory, that is one of the biggest issues we have for arthritis, for asthma, because things get inflamed. So
Right.
anti-inflammatories keep that at bay, right? Yeah, so
Yeah.
really good idea to start incorporating some of these herbs and spices and learning how to work
So
with
where do I get those corianders?
at
Coriander.
spice rack in your grocery store.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And many when spices and seasonings are sold, they're in alphabetical order. Coriander will always be there. It's usually marketed by the seed like this.
Okay.
And you don't have to ground it up. If I put this in a soup and I bloom it, it's going to soften in the cooking process and you would eat it just like that in the soup. You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Yes, yes.
Okay,
It gives it a boasting flavor.
exactly. Yep. When we
I'm
cook,
about to come visit you so I can come give me some.
give me your address. I'll mail you a little package.
All right, I sure will.
Okay, so tonight, and it's kind of labor intensive, I'm gonna pick all of these coriander, because you can see on the very ends, all of those coriander seeds, see them?
Yes.
They're pretty too, isn't it pretty? Last year I put that, no, it was the year before that. I put the dried stems like this in a bag, and then I beat the bag hoping they would fall off, and they don't. I have to really take one and roll it in my fingers to take them off. I don't mind doing that, especially watching a YouTube video while I'm, learning something else, like maybe Ayurvedic medicine, or I'm always researching, this chef business is about being a lifetime learner, by the way. Every
That's
year,
great.
yeah, every year you're gaining more knowledge. And I believe our health can be reversed through our diet. So that's my motivation. And it's super cool. It's a really awesome, just an awesome hobby. Watching things grow is super cool. Okay, so any more questions about the coriander?
Oh
Cool.
no.
One other technical term for you that I had, where did I put it? There's another name for coriander, starts with a D. Dania. It's Dhaniya. And I read that this term differentiates the leaf, which is the herb, from the fruit, which is the spice.
The spice, yes.
All right.
Okay. I learned something today.
Super cool, huh?
Yes,
Free of
yes.
charge. That was extra. Every time you can learn as much as you want, when you need to rest, because in this industry we work our work is labor intensive. So when you're resting, just research something or listen to a podcast, or you know what I mean, and then find out which
Yes.
doctors are saying what. I do that all week long. All right, so we good with this? Any other questions from anyone else? You want to
No,
throw in
I sent you my email and everything.
blue Cadillac?
Yes, blue Cadillac, Morris Williams.
I'm gonna write it down here. Now wait, this is an email address. I will have to email you to find out your address. I will send you some.
Okay, I can send you my address then also.
We'll do that privately, okay? Just
Oh, okay,
let's
all
just,
right.
because this will go out to hundreds of people, so.
Oh, all right.
All right. And again, I keep looking at my shirt and it's yucky, and I'm sorry, and that's just because we're planting, it's messy. When you plant, it's messy and your hands are in dirt, but I like that. For me, it grounds me, and I feel at one with nature. That's mostly what I like about it. It calms me. It's amazing. And just like Susan, I've loved watching her grow. I talk to her sometimes. I water her every Saturday. I've done that with most of my plants. I'm just in a habit so that I remember. Every Saturday morning after my coffee, crank on the music, and I start watering all my plants.
You have a good green thumb.
I don't know if I do or not, to be honest with you, but here's the other thing about watering every Saturday. You check them out, and you're like, if you see wormholes or you see bugs, you would have to say to yourself, oh no, Susan has something I need to rectify, right? So I'd have to do some research. These leaves that you see that are kind of beat up, that is just because of the storm. But I wanted her to stay in the storm because next year I want to keep her outside all summer.
So she get used to it, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
They
Okay.
cannot just be thrown outside if they've lived inside. That really shocks a plant. You don't want to do that. So,
Mm,
you know,
right,
um,
right.
in the spring, because I had her inside all winter and I had her under a grow light. In the spring, I would just, when it's nice weather, maybe 60 degrees outside, put her outside for a couple hours, bring her back in and so on. So yeah, I love her. It's almost, when she's in the sun, which she has been for a couple months, she gets this new leaf growth on the top, you know?
Mm,
All right, so when you repot something, there's no magic behind it. But the reason you're doing it is because if the pot is too small, they won't get enough nutrients and their root system is gonna start getting root bound and they can rot. You need good aeration. We don't want to overwater her. If on a Saturday, say I watered her last Saturday and I feel the soil and it's still moist, I don't give her any more water.
okay.
Plants, you don't want to rot those very small roots. It's kind of like our veins, right? Carrying nutrients to our organs. It's the same thing. So,
It's just like you drown in your plant.
I'm sorry.
So it's like you drown in your plant.
Exactly. That's exactly right. Some
Okay.
plants need more liquid than others or more hydration. That's something you can easily research, but I've learned that I don't have to. I just pay attention. I mean, I know that succulents, all of your cactus, and I love succulents. I have a lot of those. Um, I let them dry completely out.
Mm,
Now, as I've
okay.
told people, I'm not growing this avocado tree to think that I'm going to get fruit. I am not going to get fruit from an avocado tree that needs to grow in more tropical climate. I'm in New York. When I was in Orlando, Florida, I grew avocado trees, never did get fruit. That's not my point. My point is these are air filtration. It's very healthy. They omit oxygen. So these guys can clear the exhaust from cars and convert it to oxygen. So
Wow.
yeah, I love having plants in my house. So what I've done here is I have two pots. I'm going to put her in the biggest pot. And this soil is just from Home Depot. I like organic soil. I only get organic soil. And it's just like food grade. Be
Right,
careful.
right.
Don't get soil that has chemicals in it so that your plants are going to bloom, especially if you're going to eat the product. I could do that with this because I'm not eating the product, but I don't like chemicals. I don't want them in my house. I don't have them in my yard. I don't use them when I mow. I don't use them to kill weeds, any of it. So food grade, organic, preferable. It's not that much more expensive. This was like 5 cubic feet for $7. And that's all you need to know really about the soil. And it's formulated for pot growing instead of growing in the ground. That's the only thing you have to know about the soil. You'll come to like your own brands, right? So I think this one also has a little bit of organic matter in it. And we have talked about that because one of our archived videos shows vermiculture or breaking down compost with worms. And if you haven't seen that one and you can't find it, reach out to me and I will email it to you. Okay, so all we're going to do with her, and again, I told you I looked underneath and there are holes. And I could see a few roots, but not a ton. So I'm going to take these skewers off because she's strong enough now. She doesn't, the base of her stalk is nice and strong because of the wind. In fact, if you grow in a high tunnel, which is just a covering where you plant in the ground and you cover it so that it acts like a greenhouse, and you're increasing your growing season. You want fans in there because you want to emulate ambient environment. And the wind strengthens that root system, right? As they're swaying, and the roots just keep getting stronger and stronger. So I want to just be real careful. I don't want to break anything off. Usually these pots that aren't intended to keep a plant in, and this, I didn't buy her in that. I started the seed, but I save and recycle these guys, but they're flexible. So just now I was able to press up on it and pop her right out so I can show you the root system here. And it's not too bad.
Okay. Oh yes, I see.
See?
Yeah.
It's not
Yeah.
too bad. In other words, it's not root bound, but she'll
Not
get a
yet.
lot more nutrients if we give her more space and those
Right.
roots
Right.
can grow. So when I do this, I want her nice and stable. I'm not even going to break it up. Many online YouTubers and stuff, they will show you if it's root bound, you will knock that dirt away, and you can take scissors that have been sanitized, and you trim any old roots that look like they have rotted or decayed, get those off and break it up a little bit. I don't want to do that because I want her to be straight in here and she's not root bound. And then I'm just gonna make sure that the soil is, you know, this is gonna this is like she was about a third, the container was about a third as big, a third the size of this one. So this is gonna give her a lot more nutrients and space for her roots to start spreading out a little bit there. That's it. I might even fertilize her. I do have some organic vegetable and tree fertilizer. It's called, I've mentioned it in other videos. I don't remember right now. And that's it. And the reason I wanted to do that with the club is because the club has seen Susan from day one. Again, if you look for any archived how we started her. Now, tonight, I know I usually water everybody on Saturdays, and I just make sure it's, you know, routine so I don't forget. But tonight I will give her a nice dousing of hydration, and just always make sure that you have drainage. If I didn't have any drainage in this pot, which I do, there are several holes in this. If I didn't have that, I would put probably 2 inches of pebbles or stones so that there was something for drainage. But I really like holes in the bottom of my planters because then you don't have to worry about that. And they're typically all the way around the outside there. Okay, any questions, guys, about repotting or the coriander?
So you don't have to snip off any roots at all unless they're rotted.
I didn't, and I'll tell you why. It was probably April when we put her in this size.
Uh-huh.
Okay, and it's only been a couple months. So the root growing, but it was not root bound. If it were root bound and we saw tons of roots and some of them
Right.
yes, you would snip those off. But you would only do that with sanitized clippers because you can you know, you can get bacteria and stuff in there and ruin your plant.
Mm,
So yeah, that's it.
that's great.
Now I could have broken up the soil a little bit just so that those roots that are kind of starting to grow around like this could get out there and they could, you know, bring all that hydration up to the leaves and stuff. But I don't need to do that because it's only been a couple of months, so.
That's
Okay,
great. That's great.
it's fun.
Yeah,
Do
that's
you
great.
guys, do you grow anything, Morris?
Not yet. I want to start growing uh a cherry seed,
Yeah,
a cherry tree.
yeah, nice.
So
That's
I was
fun.
told to get a couple of cherry seeds and put it in a napkin and keep it moist till I see some roots. And then
Dry it
you
out, dry them out first.
dry them out first.
Yep.
Okay.
And I
So is it?
see, sir, I see you say, it says Zoom user, but I don't know your name. But I see you nodding, so you want to
uh,
talk to us? Can you unmute or you're not able to do that?
Yes.
Hey,
Hey, how you doing?
good, how are you?
I'm doing marvelous. I grew one before and I tried. And avocado, is that avocado tree?
Yes,
Yes, I actually tried to grow one. Mine grew a little bit, but mine died.
okay,
wow.
but
Yeah,
that's,
but I loved it. I started out with a seed and just eating avocado and just grew it and everything like that. So I really enjoyed it.
what do you think happened? Why did you?
Well, I don't know. It's just like what you just said about bacteria.
Mhm.
And I believe it could have been bacteria, what maybe
Okay,
killed it. Mm-hmm.
how long was it in water and not in soil? Did you plant?
It was in the water for a while and everything like that. So I hooked it up with the two picks and everything like that.
Mhm.
So when I done it, and then it sprouted. Oh, and I love that. I thought that was very unique.
Isn't that exciting when that
It's
happens?
very exciting. You know, avocado actually can do a lot of things, especially even the seed. I'll be honest with you. I actually learned something from an avocado, and you know, I kind of YouTubed it. And what I did was I grabbed alcohol and put the seeds in there. So when I put it in there, maybe in a little warm area, a little dark, I got it out for about a couple days, and you know I have knee problems, and I got in a bad car wreck. So I put it on my knee, and finally later I don't feel no pain.
Wow.
You
Cool.
know,
That's
and
really
you
nice.
know, and I just thought that was very awesome when you just brought up about that avocado tree. I like that.
Well, guess what? Avocado, we need fat. We need to
That's
consume fat.
right.
And avocado is an awesome fat, healthy fat. I have
It
Yeah.
is.
avocado seeds all the time. So I will now look that up and see, you know, I have
Yeah.
knee issues, probably not as bad
Right.
as yours, but just from having no cartilage, right? Because
Right.
I'm bone on bone, so I get inflamed and so on. But why not something we already have, right?
Yes.
Recycling and researching and learning the tools to heal our bodies, as opposed to grabbing a medicine off the shelf in the grocery store that might be detrimental to another part of our body, right? I mean, it's just a
Right.
win-win.
That's
And
just, you know, like when you was talking about medicine and
uh,
everything like that. It reminds me of, now that's another plant I like to grow, and it's called holy basil.
okay.
And holy basil actually takes care for like anxiety and depression. And I mean,
Mm,
and then one thing else it does is it kind of like, just to say, if a dog has Lyme disease,
Mm-hmm.
you can look this all up. It actually helps out the dog the same way.
Mm, nice. Very nice. And then, you know, I get people asking me, well, how did you learn all of this? I'm new. I'm new at this. It's
Yeah.
just, but being a chef taught me just like cooking with a new ingredient.
Okay.
You don't commit it
That's
to
right.
nothing until you do it for yourself. You
That's
can
right.
look it up on YouTube, you can read about it, blah, blah, blah. But you're not going to be 100% comfortable until you do it. And then when you were talking about the avocado plant dying, then
Right.
you think about what you did. And that's what my journal is for. When
Oh,
something
wow.
doesn't go right,
Right.
look up, okay, so these were the symptoms. The leaves turn brown, or maybe the tap root dried up, or whatever it is. And every time you do it, you're just acquiring more technique, more skill. That's all
Right.
it is. And Melissa's talking in the chat about growing basil and garlic. Melissa, I would suggest if you, ginger and turmeric, they're very
Oh,
easy
yeah.
things that you can grow. So get organic turmeric or ginger from a farmer's market, bring it home, throw it in the ground. That's all you gotta do. Well, it depends on where you live. Obviously, I mean, my rhizomes on my turmeric and my ginger shriveled up over the winter. I just stopped monitoring it, and I thought it's never going to come back. I threw it in maybe April into my raised bed, and it's now like this tall. And I was so excited. The minute I saw the first sprout on it, I was like, oh my gosh. So this winter, I'm going to keep it in a pot with soil and bring it into my cellar, put it under the grow lights and see how we do. Oregon coast, okay. Yeah, you might be, I mean, this type of tuber, like many others, winter. So they do freeze and they do dry up and they need that
Yeah.
cold, yeah, that cold.
Definitely.
Daryl, yay!
Good name.
Daryl, how are you? Have you been here the whole time?
And no, I just got in because I can never remember when the meeting is. It's off and on. So
Yeah.
I'm sorry, it has been, but I look, and that's because I tried to change it to Mondays because that works better with my schedule. Then I went to Morocco, then we had summer break, then all of the system would not allow it to be changed to Mondays. So it's Tuesday, and you will see on the Club Hub, there is a list of dates. Chef Stephanie helped me with that. So 3:30 PM Central Time
Central Time. Yeah.
every other Tuesday. That in itself is confusing, but the next meeting is going to be Tuesday, August 6th. If we are
Awesome.
on a break or between classes, then we don't have the meeting. And that's what happened when we are on summer break. Okay, guys, I appreciate you being here, and I hope you enjoyed learning about the
Sure did.
coriander. That's pretty cool, right?
That is
Yeah.
cool.
It is. It's
I
great.
learned a lot myself just getting ready for you. And then I'm gonna harvest the rest of that. And then this was just because Susan has been our mascot. She's a year and a half, going on 2 years
wow.
now, so yeah. So fun.
She's beautiful.
Yeah.
She survived the storm the other night, and I was really worried about her, but she's been on my patio, so some of her leaves got a little bit of issue, but you see all this new growth on the top. See how healthy those are? Yeah, so I'm very
Oh,
excited.
yeah, that looks good.
Yeah.
I
Nice.
had to take off my glasses just then to see it a lot better. My glasses are a little foggy.
There's Melissa too. Yay, I see faces. That's awesome.
Yeah, that's great. Yes, she's
That is
great.
nice.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you guys being here, and I think we're right at an hour, so I've got grading to do, but let me put my email address and phone number in the chat,
Okay.
and
That's
that way
all.
you can reach out to me anytime.
Okay.
Let's see where my
And you can, there's the email, my email address, and then you can text this number or call at any time.
You know, like have this.
And it's looks like a Pennsylvania number, but I'm actually in New York. I just didn't change that number, and it's a soft phone, so you don't have to worry. If it's late at night, don't be like, oh, I better not text her, because I will get it only when I'm in my office, so that's fine. Anytime.
Okay.
Yeah, and you can say, Chef, put me on the mailing list so that I know every time there is a club meeting or something like that to that effect. Okay?
I appreciate that.
And one other thing, I learned from you guys, so, and Melissa, you brought up the basil and the garlic. Feel free to take some photos and put them on the club page. Lots of people do that. If you haven't been in there poking around like Daryl puts so much information on there.
Oh, wow.
I just posted the stuff about the electroculture. I don't know if you had a chance to read that.
No,
It's over 120 years old, where it uses actual electrical currents, natural electrical currents to help stimulate the growth of the garden.
oh, wow, crazy.
Wow.
Yeah, there's a whole link up there in the page.
All right, guys, I appreciate it. It was fun today. Nice talking to you, and I'll see you next
You
time,
too.
okay?
Really enjoyed it.
August 6th.
August 6th. Thank you.
August 6th.
Y'all have a good one, all of y'all.
Okay, see you guys.
See you.